But yeah, here we are, looking not quite, but hell of a lot closer to those Ray-Ban glasses than we were a minute ago, I think. Hi guys, my name is Baradante, and let's talk XR, which is extended reality. As far as I know, VR means virtual reality, where you can only see the fake 3D world around you. Mixed reality is where you can see your 3D things built into your environment seen through the cameras, which is the latest fun edition of MetaQuest 3 that I finally got here. The moment they let you pre-order it, I immediately did, because I've been using my Quest 2 every single day for the last year, and now I can finally do it with way better lenses and better resolution of the screens, and of course way better pass-through cameras that let you see a colorful, more or less sharp image of the room around you. So that's really awesome, and I wanted to make this simple video just to talk about extended reality, which I forgot to finish my thought. Extended reality is a blanket term for both virtual reality and mixed reality. So if you want to talk about all of it, as far as I know, you just say extended reality, or XR. Some of my thoughts about how things are going and my experience so far having Quest 3 for a few days. So let's start with that. Now, to put it in perspective, why am I using MetaQuest literally every day? Two reasons. Number one, I don't like going anywhere to work out, so I put this thing on and play some games with weights on my wrists, or even without. If you're playing on high difficulty levels, it's quite a workout. But the second reason is, of course, since I've been living with this mobile setup for the last year and a half, this laptop display is the biggest thing I have on me, and when I put Quest on my face, the screen turns into a giant movie theater display. Very useful in my circumstances. The quality of the image is far from being as crisp as a 4K display or even QHD laptop I have, since it's small, so the density of the pixels is very high. It's like the Retina resolution. This is not that, it's not Retina, but Quest 3 had enough of a bump of resolution to make all the text super readable, and that's about what I really need from it. Like, generally, it's really hard to show on video how exactly it feels, how exactly you can see it. In many cases, it will actually look maybe a bit better to you guys if I succeed in showing you the capture. So I'll start the recording right now. And here's my favorite app. Here are you guys, the camera right over there, so I can see like pretty much everything. I can also use my iPad right here to turn on the music on it or whatever. And by the way, these are the controllers that come with it. You rarely really need to use them if you're just working at a desk, but they're very nice, upgraded into being a lot lighter, and when I'm holding them in my big hands, pretty much is just my hand on the outside. No more hitting yourself all the time with these big rings that they used to have on them. This is a huge upgrade. Like, the controllers are so good. They're so clean, light, the haptics. Haptics are something that I didn't expect at all, because it's impossible to tell people what exactly it does, but it's so sharp. It's so precise. It feels really good. So yeah, the thing I've been talking about, this is the sizes of things you can get into very easily, and this is looking great. The thing you're not seeing right now, the biggest improvement from Quest 2 in this Quest 3, is that the lenses, the pancake lenses, are so sharp that right now I'm wearing this headset, and if I go something like this, right now I'm seeing the whole screen. There's a bit of a bigger field of view of these lenses as well, but also I'm looking at the very corner of my lens, and I can easily read that time and date on the screen. No problem at all. You couldn't do that at all with Quest 2 lenses. They were Fresnel lenses that introduced insane zoom blur, so to speak, so like you couldn't read anything at all. So yeah, this is pretty much the way I would work normally. Right now what you can see me using here, this app is called Virtual Desktop, and it has two main features. Number one, you can play VR games from your computer, but the second thing is like it's in the name. Virtual desktop is where you can just see the screen of your computer right in front of you, any size and shape you want it to be, and all of that. So that's really cool. But one main limitation to it so far, as far as I know, very soon it will change, but right now you can only stream one display at a time. But that's the limitation almost exclusive to virtual desktop. Many other pieces of software let you stream many displays at the same time, including displays you don't even have connected to your computer. Multi-screen setup with your windows to something that no one else can see except for you. But I still prefer virtual desktop way more because honestly, it's not that huge of a benefit in many cases to have many displays. Like, you can get stuff done with just one. The real benefit is having it a much bigger size and, placed conveniently so you could look at a bigger distance and stuff like that. But also the huge deal is the latency. Right now, I'm like moving my mouse and the latency is pretty small. Like, I play games, like flat games on this laptop using this setup as well, and it's a great experience. So that's one thing, that's the main reason why virtual desktop only has one display streaming at the moment. They don't want to compromise the latency, the quality of what you're seeing in front of yourself. So yeah, this is pretty much the way I would work. I would just use my keyboard and mouse and just see this giant display in front of me just like that. So that's pretty cool. And of course, another greatest benefit of using a headset like this is being able to use VR sculpting apps and stuff like that, which is something we cover on this channel. But really, the greatest amount of hours I spend in the VR headset is of course just, mirroring my display and using it with the flat operating system. Which is something, if you guys have been on this channel for many years, you may remember once I made a video talking about like my view at VR technology at the moment, back when I didn't have any headset at all. And I said like the main feature that would sell it to me is if I would be able to just use it for extending displays of my computer that I have in front of me. And I had quite a few comments under that video criticizing that point of view of mine, saying that's not what the VR headset is for and everything, when literally right now the main feature of the headset is mixed reality, where you can use it for work that way as well. And of course, Apple, soon entering this whole game, is using just the work with flat displays floating all over your room as their main selling point, because of course it is. Of course, that's what you would want. One thing is what the VR technology is capable of in the distant future, where all the content and all the culture will be adapted to it. But right now we need the smooth, like soft transition. What we can use it for that would have the real value in our lives already. And that's all kinds of flat content and flat work that we do. So, turns out I was right. I don't think you have to be a genius to see that, of course, but yeah, this is a big deal. There's a strategy about how to make something like a VR technology introduced into our society, into our culture, which is, of course, this is the biggest deal. We would all love to have just, like super thin, normal looking glasses that would put on our faces, and that would do everything Vision Pro does, or at least MetaQuest does, but it's literally not gonna happen. Maybe in a quite a distant future, actually, like definitely more than 10 years away from now, I would say. Like, you never know with the whole AI explosion right now, but I really don't think 10 years would be enough for... Actually, right here, I may be able to find it. There it is, Ray-Ban. I don't remember which one is the one, but let's say this is their new main device like this, which is like the glasses that look normal, but they have a bunch of tech in them, so they're augmented smart glasses. One important thing to immediately mention, these guys don't have any screens, any displays at all. You don't see anything except for just seeing your real world through the normal Ray-Ban glass right there. So all you have is a microphone, a camera, and speakers. So you can talk to your Meta Assistant, and it's like AI powered, the new kind of AI speech where you can have a certain conversation, it will understand you, That's pretty cool, and next year they're introducing software update to it where you can look at something and ask Meta AI about what you're looking at and how to solve an issue or to translate something, so it would use the context of the camera that you're pointing in front of you to answer your question, which is a great thing, like it's a great feature, but these are not like VR, AR things at all. They're just smart glasses, meaning they have a smart assistant in them. And being able to record short videos or stream them. So that's pretty cool, but this is not that at all. And very far in the distance it would ever get anywhere near even just showing you a screen. And I mean, if we go technical, I think the main problem is always the battery. If we look at the both most interesting gadgets of virtual reality right now, Meta Quest 3 and Vision Pro, both of them have their biggest downsides that are going from the battery. This thing works for under 2 hours. It's a bit worse than Quest 2 did, and 2 hours is a very short time. Like, to me, too many like novelty experiences that you just spend, half an hour playing some VR game and then you feel exhausted and you want to take it off. I feel like that wouldn't be going anywhere if that would be the goal. These headsets need to be comfortable and, you need to get used to them as well, so you can use them for a very long time. That's the way I do it. That's why in some of my videos my eyes have quite a noticeable redness to them. That's because of this thing being on my face all the time. But yeah, in order to use it for many hours, I use a cable, just a charging cable that I plug into it on the side right here. And with Quest 3, I just use this cable and connect it right to my laptop right here. Though the streaming itself is totally wireless, I only use it to charge the headset. And another thing, this thing is like half a kilogram, whatever that is in other measurements, but point is, well, it's definitely heavier than you would want it to be. It's heavier than it looks. That's what I would say, because it's much smaller visually than Quest 2 was, but the weight is a couple of grams more than Quest 2. And yeah, both of these problems are coming from just the battery inside of it. It's packed in the middle, and here is the biggest component, well, next to maybe the lenses that became a lot smaller since they are pancake lenses, but it's the heaviest, the biggest component that's like you would really want to get rid of it. But because it's a standalone headset, it needs to work on its own. It has this battery that makes everything heavier, bigger, and everything. If you just remove the battery, the thing would be even smaller. And what's another important thing, if I disconnect, which is I'm so not good at disconnecting this facial interface yet on Quest 3. Sheesh. So this whole part is nothing. This is not anything. It's just for it to hug your face better. Really, this is what the thing looks like. So if you look at it like this, it's a lot closer to being kind of glasses that you would think at first. And if I remove the head strap, which is still, all of this is very terrifying to me to do. And by the way, this head strap is the most criticized and terrible thing that you get out of the box. And everyone immediately just buys either the Elite head strap from Meta that's insanely overpriced, and it has an extra battery in the back of your head to extend the standalone work, or you wait for the third-party companies to introduce it as well. And for me, it's even a longer wait because I can only order from a German Amazon, and so far there's no really good options in there, and I only want to buy once, so still waiting. But yeah, here we are, looking not quite, but hell of a lot closer to those Ray-Ban glasses than we were a minute ago, I think. And what's the most interesting part about all of this, so let me real quick adjust the refresh rate. Oh, it's not gonna help. It's like the big problem, how to adjust the refresh rate of the camera so it wouldn't flicker like crazy. Well, at least like this, right? So if we look through this thing, that's how thin the edges of the vision you get. Meaning, it does look a lot like glasses. If you really put your eyes right next to it, you can see this camera pass through, then a little black edge, and then it's like your actual vision of your room. So when you put this on your face in this kind of setup, you know, without anything extra, which is not something that's ever marketed or anyone does that, but I feel like we'll see more of this with Quest 3. Why? Because this whole thing is actually soft. It's silicon right here. It's like it looks very clean around here, and all of this is soft. And I tried it yesterday to just use the head strap and just putting it on my face like this. It's actually very nice. The only problem is with the default head strap, with this thing, it's really pressing it against your face and against your nose. But that's very easy to solve with a good head strap, especially the one I was using with Quest 2 that has like a halo strap design. And some of you guys noticed I used to be using my Quest 2 without its own facial interface. That's because the halo strap is just holding against your forehead, and the headset itself can be just floating in front of your face. With this thing, it will be just incredible. It will make it so much slimmer, your eyes will be even closer to the lenses, extending your field of view even more, and pancake lenses are incredible. Like, no matter how close you are, no matter at how strong of an angle at the very edge of the lens you're looking at it, it's just sharp. It's crazy. It has quite a strong vignetting though, something not a lot of people mention, but Fresnel lenses, like there's darkening, soft darkening on the edges of your vision from these lenses. But I'll take this trade-off any day to upgrade from that zoom blur of Fresnel lenses. And getting this slim with the ability to use these pass-through cameras and the software update that lets you just put them on, and being in this pass-through mode right away, seeing your room, not having to define any kind of play area. So you put them on and you're just in your room, there's a thing floating in front of you, you can work with it, you can grab it and walk anywhere. We already have Quest 3 glass holes, so to speak, a blast from the past from 2010, when Google released their Google Glass, where you could actually see stuff and record videos as well, and people were wearing them all over the streets and everything, whoever had the money to afford it or whatever. But yeah, I read on the news a little bit about the Quest 3 glass holes, and generally it seems like the notion is right now people are a bit more adjusted to the idea of someone wearing some kind of tech piece on their face than they were 10 years ago. So I feel like it will be less of a problem because everyone is being recorded with their smartphones all the time, so you know, not a huge issue there. But of course, like, I'm not gonna put it on walking down the street. Maybe if I would sit down somewhere I could put it on to use it, but definitely not just walking around wearing it. But yeah, in terms of how I see the development of this thing, right now the average Joe who never used a VR headset, or at least never owned it, so maybe you tried it somewhere but you don't own it, so you're not invested into it, you haven't tried having this kind of device as your own. Your main look at this would be that we're just pretty much waiting for something like Ray-Ban glasses being actually VR. That's when it would be really adapted into society. I really think like it's going both ways. On one hand, we want the devices that are more, you know, stylish and just fit into your face, not looking like a giant brick protruding from your head, but something slimmer than that. But on the other hand, there's just a huge cultural adaptation to the idea of completely blocking your real eyes and having the digital vision instead of it. It's like too much out there. It looks kind of like a Halloween costume of cyberpunk right now, but you know, give it 5 more years with things getting slimmer so people can really put them on and walk around. I feel like it's like it will meet somewhere halfway, because this will never be powerful enough to do something substantial. The only way you could possibly think of it is maybe if it would be paired with your very, very powerful phone. Then it would be able to, like, but you really need to pack those screens in there and good speakers and power that with a freaking battery that's, you know, stalling all the progress right now. It's like, I feel like all the big tech CEOs right now, they just hate lithium ion. It's like the worst thing of this tech at all. Like, it's so bad. Like, Apple Vision Pro doesn't have that on it, like it's just lenses with unreasonably heavy glass and metal on them, but it's just the glasses with the processors in them. But the battery is right there next to her in a pouch. So that's like the biggest stupid thing about Vision Pro, is that you have to carry a pouch with a battery, with a pretty big one actually, all of the time. Like if MetaQuest 3 is just this for, 2 hours tops, but still, this is what you can be using. Or with a head strap, there would be another battery on the back, and it can be pretty minimalistic and clean looking with that. It's still like it's one piece. You put on your head, you put it off your head, and that's it. With Vision Pro, you have this tether to a pouch on your waist with a battery, which is quite lame, but I can really understand why Apple decided to go that way. It's just because these batteries are so stupid, heavy, hot. And just when you try to make a compromise, you get still a heavy device that also doesn't work nearly as much as you would want it to work. And finally, one last point I wanted to mention, another thing to talk about is like the difference between Apple Vision Pro and MetaQuest 3. I hope I'll manage to put it in the title, but I really think that the biggest difference between the two is not the price. Like, so many people bought MetaQuest 3 right now, and there are speculations that didn't do super well, but still, like, it's quite a popular device, and a lot of people could afford it, especially from the enthusiast audience like myself, who already own one headset, and they were really looking forward to getting Quest 3. But that's $500, and Vision Pro is $3,500, and like, what are Apple thinking doing a headset like that? Who's it for? No one's gonna be using it. And I've been thinking about it for a while, and I realized the main difference is the fact that this is a phone and this is a laptop. And why I think that is because of this. This is the technical main difference between the two headsets, I think. A lot of things can change, but I feel like this, Apple is not gonna change. There always will be two processors inside. So while MetaQuest 3 is using this upgraded chip, the Qualcomm XR2 Gen 2 chip that's really powerful for like a phone device, it's more powerful than the most powerful phone right now. And it's this special type of XR2 chips that are specifically tailored to work with the whole VR thing, like solving the tracking and all that stuff. But it's the one chip. It's solving tracking, it's reprojecting your camera vision and everything, making sure your head and hands and controllers are moving properly in space, 90 frames per second. And on top of that, they need to run all the programs. They need to render all the 3D graphics with materials and shadows. That's like the main problem of Quest, like why Quest 2 games looked so bad. That's because the chip was more than 2 times weaker, but also that's because this one chip is doing everything. And Vision Pro has this kind of like XR2 equivalent chip, which is called R1 from Apple. But like this is what is solving the whole virtual reality aspect of it, like tracking things and reprojecting things. And then we have the M2 chip, the pretty much desktop grade chip from Apple that's also used in like Mac Pros, like giant professional workstations from Apple. Of course, it's very different thermals and it's like the smallest, most compact version of it, so it's not like M2 Max or M2 Ultra or whatever. It's just M2, but nonetheless, this chip is completely free to make the best graphics it can possibly do, fully dedicated to it. That's why we have really cool effects like blurring and, nice shadows everywhere cast on the actual virtual things. Like there are shadows from all the virtual things cast on your environment like that. Like here's a shadow from things. And that's something MetaQuest 3 does as well right now, but very limited. Like a little bit, they would add a fake kind of like gradient shadow from things when they, like in mixed reality, when an alien ship is falling on the ground, it would have a little bit of a shadow on your carpet in your room, but nowhere near this level of graphics with foggy glass effects and everything. Like, this is a completely different experience. That's because this is an actual laptop working. This is a laptop that doesn't have a physical keyboard, a physical touchpad, or a big bright display. Instead, it's using a small display in front of you and a whole lot of this computation to replace the keyboard, the mouse, and the big display with this sophisticated computing. And that's exactly what that chip is responsible for. This is your keyboard and mouse and everything. And this is your powerful processor that can get things done really without compromises. So that's why there's a huge difference. If you think about Vision Pro as fully adapted, culturally accepted device that's been on the market for several generations, and it costs not even a penny less, $3,500. But think about replacing this RTX 3080 Ti laptop with Vision Pro. $3,500. This thing, I don't remember its price exactly, but it's somewhere in the same ballpark. So, you know, it's just about thinking about Vision Pro as a laptop. Then everything starts making a lot more sense. While, yes, it's not really a laptop, you can't really touch it, but also a laptop only has this kind of display. It can't get any bigger than that. And it's much bulkier and everything. So this really has a huge point to it. It's just that Meta is trying to create a replacement for phones because their main goal is though everyone would use like a phone from Meta. They would love that because their whole advertisement business would love that. And Apple is replacing laptops with Vision Pro. Maybe not really. Apple usually hates replacing anything, so they'll make sure all their devices are still on the market. Phones, tablets, laptops, smartwatches, and now a VR headset. Like all of that will have its own place in your room, being useful and working together and not quite overlapping in the functionality one way or another. That's one way Apple could shoot themselves in the foot in that regard, because I feel like a VR headset, with how hard to make it adapted into society, it needs to be a non-compromise device. It needs to be something that's like, I literally can invest in Vision Pro and never care about buying a new laptop because it's just that good and it does everything. All you maybe need to buy is like a wireless keyboard and a mouse and you're set. You have an amazing laptop anywhere you go. So that's the way I think it's going. Of course, like MetaQuest 3 is a much more relevant device right now. It's way better, and I'm so grateful to Meta that they're taking this route, because the day I tried MetaQuest 1 at a friend's house for the first time, I was like, okay, my nearest future will be very different from now on. And yeah, thanks to the fact that it's cheap, yet it's packing the best possible tech in it, that's really cool. That's very beneficial to everyone, even to Apple as well, of course, because now people know what to expect, but better with Vision Pro. But also Apple is doing the different, very important job here, is making sure a VR headset is not just like a phone evolution, but instead it's a computer evolution. That's why they're using this cheesy term for it. They call it the spatial computing device. We can't say VR headset because someone else already said that before. But yeah, I think like that's one of the main reasons why they do that, because they want to come up with a different platform that's more powerful. It's not like a VR phone, it's a VR laptop. So that's the big thing, and I feel like the price is right. $3,500 for something so innovative, no compromise, super high quality. Of course, they've made themselves quite a headroom for easy improvement with next nearest generations. Remove the stupid cross-eyed eye projection screen in here, which will make things more powerful, lighter, and less battery hungry and everything. Like clearly you remove that, you get just Apple Vision without the Pro, and that will already be better. Another thing, like remove the giant heavy glass in front and remove all the super heavy metallic chassis right here. Make everything plastic as it should be. It shouldn't be cold and heavy on your face. Like, all of this stuff is just the premium first generation thing that will be easily improved in the future with better materials. Yeah, plastic is literally better for a VR headset. And if Apple want to keep it, premium, use like carbon whatever, but it has to be light and warm and not this. So yeah, the fact that it doesn't have a battery in here, yet it's still, if not heavier, but like comparable in weight to Quest when Quest has the battery in it. So that's kind of dumb. But yeah, removing the glass, the metal, and the stupid eye screen in front of you. And what's funny, like, the battery is in the pouch on your waist with a cord, but who said there won't be a third-party head strap with a battery on the back of your head? That's it, like, just replace it, release some kind of Bobo VR for Vision Pro that has a battery pack in the back. And yeah, make it a more reasonable solution, and then we're looking at something that's around $2,000, maybe even under if you wait long enough. And then we're seeing a very powerful, very compelling laptop replacement for a very good price. So yeah, these are my thoughts. I'll stop rambling because it's been a whole hour of me talking about this actually. Let me know what you guys think. Very excited about Quest 3 and trying it more with VR sculpting and just working all the time with my laptop on it and seeing all kinds of mixed reality experiences as well. Like, this is so much fun. And really, this is the device you're looking at. And with a good head strap that would hold this thing in place with the pressure on your forehead instead of your face, we'll literally adapt this into being able to wear it nice and slick like this. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye! Alright, this almost works fine. By the way, I forgot to mention, the only thing I can do it like this without any support is because of how small my nose is. I feel like most people will suffer immeasurably. The nose will be completely destroyed.